Hi, everybody. Okay, so let's talk about alcohol. We know that the fast road to fat loss is a lifestyle, so it would be not fair of us to say that alcohol is completely prohibited on this program. But how do we work it in a safe and healthy and effective way? So let's talk about that. We recommend in the first few weeks of this program that you refrain from drinking alcohol, but don't worry, this is temporary. The reason, though, we tell you to refrain the first few weeks is first, we want to get your metabolism moving and have you start to see the results that we know that you want to see very fast, okay? When you drink alcohol, your body prioritizes metabolizing that alcohol over doing important things that we want them to spend time doing, such as, or have it spend time doing, such as burning fat, right? So we want to make the priority for your body to burn fat, especially within those first few weeks. Now, because this is a lifestyle and not to this quick fix diet that, restricts you from things in life that you enjoy, like maybe drinking alcohol, there's a couple ways that you can incorporate alcohol back into your life. So the first way, and probably the preferred way, is to enjoy it as a leg day treat. As you know, on our leg day, you can indulge in a non-approved treat. Now, the treat might be a donut. It might be a slice of cake at the birthday party you're going to. It might be like that brownie you've been jonesing for. Whatever it might be, we want you to be able to indulge in the things that you are mentally obsessing over or that you really enjoy in your life so that you don't over obsess over it, because we know that when you want something and you know you can't have it, what do you want? You want it more, right? That's what happens. So you can look forward to this leg day treat and indulging in those things that you really look forward to. Again, it's not a treat day. It's a single treat. So pick something that is really going to give you that feeling of like, I can sustain this lifestyle. This is amazing. Now, for you, it might be a couple glasses of wine. It might be a margarita full force. It might be, indulging in some beverages that night when you go out with the girls, whatever it might be. So that said, that would be the preferred time that you indulge in alcohol. And you're still going to track it, as you would with any off-plan treat. You are absolutely still going to track it within your macros, but you're going to track it in a different way than probably you've ever thought of tracking alcohol before. So that kind of goes into like the second way, and I'll get into the details there, is if you have multiple times in the week that you are consuming alcohol, you might start to see slower progress in the plan. I know whenever I get off more than a couple times of drinking per week in the summer around the holidays, it becomes harder and harder. And I'll tell you, it's not even necessarily the alcohol that I'm consuming, but it is the choices I make after I drink the alcohol. Like, I can have some of that chip dip and, chips, and then it's a little bit too much and it kind of goes from there, right? We've all been there. So that would be the warning that I do give you. But you are still going to track the alcohol like any other time into your macros. And I think the biggest thing that you can do is just track. Even if you're over for the day, just keep tracking, because this program is not about perfection. It's about progress. And if we can't really track our progress unless we really know what our performance is. And so even if I know I'm over, I'm still going to track it so that I, have the go through the exercise of actually putting it down, and then I just know I'm going to be better the next day. So, okay, so let's get into how do you track alcohol. All right, so I'm so sorry to tell you that the 1 calorie or the 1 carb that shows on the back of a hard seltzer is not actually accurate, okay? There is sugar in alcohol, therefore, and there are carbohydrates in sugar, therefore, how can there only be 1 carb in an entire thing of a hard seltzer? So unfortunately, there is more carbohydrates in alcohol than maybe it might show on the machine, or on the label. So that said, let's talk about how do we calculate it. So we know that carbohydrates has 4 calories per gram, right? So when you have a 100-calorie hard seltzer, you're going to divide that by 4 for the 4 calories, right? And you are going to get a total of 25 grams of carbohydrates. So you are going to track 0 protein, 0 fat, and 25 carbs for 1 little hard seltzer, for example. Now let's take like a glass of wine. A glass of wine is 120 calories. Again, divide that by the 4 and you will have your amount of, I think it was 30. Carbohydrates, 0 fat, 0 protein. Let's think of another example. Obviously, you guys probably do the math with like a beer. I would actually choose maybe like, if you wanted to kind of stay gluten-free, you could go more for a glass of wine or maybe a Tito's and soda, which would be a little bit better than a beer, because then you're kind of still staying at least within the gluten-free area. Okay, let's say a mixed drink. Okay, so you would then calculate, let's say it's a vodka cranberry. You would separate out in your mind the cranberry juice versus the vodka. So whatever calories and carbohydrates are in the cranberry juice, you could track as normal. Whatever carbs it has, as it shows on the label for just the cranberry juice, a cup of cranberry juice, I don't even know what it is, but you could track that part as normal. And then you're gonna add the vodka part to the cranberry mixer. The vodka part typically is about 70 calories per 1 shot. And I know we can get a little, like this is the issue with wine. 120 calories, you're like, oh, that's good. I could, have a giant glass of wine for 120 calories. It's like 4 ounces or something. I mean, it's like the smallest glass of wine you've ever seen in your life. So most of the time it's like 300 calories per glass of wine. So, wine can get a little out of hand. I'll just warn you on that one. But again, the 70 calories that's in 1 shot of Tito's or whatever it is, divide that by 4. That's going to be your carbohydrates, 0 protein, 0 fat. And then you add that to whatever the macros are for the mixer, and boom, you have your total value. Now, you can, if you have the premium plan for MyFitnessPal, you can actually add a custom food. And I think that you have to have the premium to do add a custom foods. I'm not sure, but you can add a custom food and then call it like, special Kelly's special vodka drink or whatever you want to call it. And then you can add in the macros yourself and track it in your MyFitnessPal tracker. I use another tracker. I use a tracker called Fat Secret. It's almost identical to MyFitnessPal, but the premium MyFitnessPal features are free on Fat Secret. So if you prefer to switch over, even though you've already set up your MyFitnessPal, use the exact same macro count and change it over to Fat Secret, that's what I use, and I actually like it even better. So that's another option for you too. But that's how you're going to track your alcohol. Now, sometimes when you're drinking alcohol, you're like, I can't really do short math right now. It's a little complicated. I actually downloaded an app, and there is an app, and it's called WAG Alcohol. It's called WAG, W-A-G, Elk Calc. WAG Elk Calc. I don't know if you can see, but that's the icon right there. Okay, and what this does is it calculates it by calories or by ounces, so you can choose. So it's like 100 calories. I'll put in 120 calories, and done. Okay, and then what it allows you to is they'll actually give you the option if you want to track it as carbohydrates or as your fats. So I think a cleaner, better way to do it is to track it by carbohydrates but as we know, if you don't burn carbohydrates, it's sugar, and sugar turns into fat, right? So we want, I always track it specifically as carbohydrates, but if you wanted to, if you're like, oh, I have some fat left over for my day, so I'd rather track it as fat versus as just as carbohydrates, or maybe a mix of the two, you can adjust the dial, so you're like, oh, I'm going to do about 20% of it calculated as carbs, and the other 80% is fat, or whatever you want to do. So you can adjust it so it'll show you what you should be tracking in terms of macros. Now, you can never, no matter how hard you try, track alcohol as protein. Unfortunately, I wish. Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be amazing? But you can't. You have to track it as either carbohydrate or fat. Prioritize carbohydrates, but you can adjust it there as fat as well. So plan accordingly. On a day where you might be having some cocktails in the evening, eat lower carbohydrate during the day. Have a salad with some high protein. You still want to get all your macros in, so make sure that you're consuming all those macros earlier in the day so that you don't have to worry about that as much when you're, in the evening having drinks and then making not the best choices with your food. So prioritize those proteins in the beginning of the day so that you can kind of make not as good choices with the fat and carbohydrates later on in the day. All right. So that is how I handle tracking alcohol. Questions, as always, keep them coming. We would love to help you because, again, the Fast Road to Fat Loss is a lifestyle. It's not a diet. It is a lifestyle. And we want you people to enjoy your life and still have all the healthy benefits of living the fast way. All right, guys, have a great one. See you later. Bye-bye.